Now we've got interest rates that are flip-flopping left, right, and center. We've got political unrest here at home and south of the border. We've got discussion of trade wars and tariffs, but little old Halifax, Nova Scotia keeps trucking along. The Halifax real estate market is heating up, sales are climbing, prices continue to grow, and if you're thinking about buying or selling, you need to see this. Whether you're a hesitant buyer worrying about being priced out of the market, or you're a seller that has no idea how much your home is worth after so many consecutive years of positive growth, this video is going to break down both sides and why it's important to know these stats. All right, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Greg Pierce. I'm a local real estate agent and investor based out of Halifax, Nova Scotia on the east coast of Canada. And if you're looking to get a deeper dive into any of your real estate needs, make sure you click on the Calendly link below in the description to book a one-on-one call, or we can meet up at a coffee shop if you're local. All right, before we break into the stats, I think it's fair to say that there's a little bit of uncertainty and unrest on both sides of the border right now in North America. And the reality is, these are times that are not unfamiliar to us. Now, despite these being tariffs that are new to us and, a threat that's a little bit different from an economical standpoint, you rewind to 5 years ago this time, and we were dealing with COVID, which everyone thought would shut down the world. Housing prices were going to crash. Yet here in Nova Scotia and across the country, we saw the largest boom that we could have ever imagined during the most unprecedented time ever. So to sit here and say that we can predict what's going to happen with these tariffs that are pending, nobody really knows what they're talking about, and there's no sense in panicking. Really, these things are going to play out how they're going to play out, and I'm here to break down where we are so far after 2 months into 2025. So first up, let's talk sales volume. We saw 594 sales in February of 2025, which is a 4.4% increase compared to this time last year. Now, despite the fear and the panic that might be to come with the trade war and tariffs, February saw a good jump and we saw more buyers getting into the market than this time last year. Now, the average sale price grew as well, up to $593,211, which is a 5.4% increase from the same time last year as well. So anytime we're dealing with real estate, we have to look at both ends of the spectrum. If you're a seller, this is great news. We're continuing to see growth. Your home is increasing in value, and particularly if you bought 5 to 7 years ago, this may be a good time to evaluate whether it is worth staying in your home or if it's time to downsize or upsize. Now, if you're a buyer, this is a really important time period for you, because I think there's a lot of people that are trying to wait to see when the ideal time is to line up perfect interest rates with perfect home prices and find the best of both worlds, when in reality, this market keeps creeping up and up and it's outpacing typical income growth. So a lot of times people are being priced out of the market, or unfortunately settling for something lesser than they could have bought had they got into the market a little while ago. As they say, there's no time like the present, and I always preach that it's better to be time in market than it is to try and time the market. In my 2025 market prediction video, I predicted that our market was going to grow by about 5 to 7% this year, and right now we are trending to be on track with that. Now, obviously a lot can change. The spring market is a huge portion of our business throughout the year, and that is still to come. And obviously with the aforementioned trade wars, there's going to be some issues or potential outcomes, regardless of how it directly impacts the housing market, but it's more about the psychology and the consumer confidence. And despite all of the different chaos from an economic, political, or interest rate standpoint, as mentioned earlier, Halifax continues to chug along, and it's actually one of the cities that's expected to be impacted by the tariffs the least out of all cities across Canada. Now let's talk about how long it's taking these homes to sell here in the market. On average, it takes about 45 days, which is 2 days up from this time last year. And typically what we're seeing is that buyers are a little bit more selective right now. They're being a little bit more cautious. There's less of the FOMO that we've seen in years prior that's maybe caused buyers to rush into decisions. Now people are being a little bit more patient, as we also have a little bit more inventory, so there's more choices on the market. Now, speaking of inventory, we are sitting at 2 months of inventory, which is still considered a strong seller's market. The issue is the vast majority of our inventory is in the what we would call unaffordable category, that is above that $500,000 price point. So when we're looking at sub 500,000, properties are still moving very quickly. Quite often there's competition, meaning there's multiple offers and these homes are selling for above asking price. So when you're looking at these numbers, it's important to differentiate that we can't paint every home with the same brush, and these stats are going to be swayed quite heavily depending on the price points we're seeing and also the neighborhoods that these homes are in. So what does this all mean for you? So if you're a seller, the market is still ripe for selling. This is a great opportunity to list your home in preparation of the spring market. However, pricing accordingly is super important. It's more important than ever because what's happening now is sometimes properties are getting overpriced, and as a result, they sit on market longer. Even if they have price drops back down to what we would consider market value, it's still not the same as pricing at market value to begin with, and it can discourage buyers from being interested in those properties, even though there's nothing wrong with them. Now, if you're a buyer, particularly a first-time home buyer, it can be difficult to get into the market with something that you're excited about and maybe you see yourself staying in for a long time. But the key here is that you don't want the market to get away from you. The market continues to chug along, and as I mentioned earlier, typically it's outpacing typical income. So the important factor here is to find a place that you're going to be content in for the next 2 or 3 years, and maybe taking a bit of a lesser home than you would hope for now to build some equity to move and upgrade in the next 2 or 3 years. This is really the best way of climbing that property ladder that we discuss so often in the real estate industry. Now, whether you're a seller looking to find out the value of your home to see how much equity you've gained, or you're a buyer that's cautious about the market and want to ask some questions, you can set up a buyer consultation by clicking in my Calendly link below. Like I said, I'd love to set up a no strings attached meeting to answer any and all of your questions that you might have about our current market. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you found this video helpful. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that bell so you can be notified anytime I release new content. Thanks so much. I'll see you on the next one.